Why do the unintelligent think they are intelligent? In 1995 in the United States, a man named MacArthur Wheeler decided to rob a bank in broad daylight without wearing any kind of mask. Once the theft was completed, our hero decided to do the same in another bank soon after, in both cases smiling at the surveillance cameras before leaving. The man was then arrested the same evening after being identified by the police in the recordings of bank cameras. At the time of his arrest, a very surprised MacArthur asked the officers how they had recognized him, as he had covered his face with lemon juice. According to MacArthur, the lemon juice would have made him invisible to cameras and was genuinely surprised when he discovered that it did not. His belief was founded on having incorrectly interpreted the chemical properties of lemon juice on invisible ink. This cognitive bias inspired two psychologists, Dunning Krueger and David Dunning, to conduct an in-depth study on the subject in 1999. What surprised the psychologists most was the thief's sense of security. He was so convinced to be right that he even insinuated that the video recordings had been tampered. Dunning and Krueger conducted a study on a large sample of students, who were tested in various categories, such as logical reasoning, correct use of grammar, and a sense of humor. Once the test was completed, they were asked to estimate their results at an absolute level and in relation to the results of other students. The result was that the students with the worst results were those who most of all overestimated their results, and by a lot. They all believed they were well above average. So not only were they incompetent, but they didn't have the faintest idea of how mediocre they were in relation to their peers. The students with the best results, on the other hand, had a better idea of their abilities. But in any case, despite being aware of being better than the average, they too made a mistake. They underestimated their skills. Paradoxically, they believed that they had actually done worse than the result obtained. But why? Simply because the test seemed relatively easy for them, so they believed it was easy for everyone, unaware of their own superior skills. Today, the Dunning-Krueger effect is known all over the world. The most incompetent people do not have the ability to recognize their own incompetence and believe themselves better than they actually are. The natural consequence of this total lack of self-awareness is that if they don't obtain the desired results in a specific field, as often happens, they look for excuses and scapegoats to justify their failures, instead of asking themselves what the real reason behind it was. On the screen, you can see the curve of the Dunning-Krueger effect. On the vertical axis, you'll find self-confidence, and on the horizontal axis, experience. People without knowledge often tend to have enormous self-confidence while living in a state of total ignorance. Further on, those who manage to improve themselves and acquire knowledge understand how little they knew before and begin to lose some confidence in themselves. Only later, once they become experts in a certain topic, they regain their confidence and know they're really much more prepared than others on this subject. Basically, we humans are not very good at self-evaluating ourselves. Most of us believe we're better than what we are, and almost all of us, some to a greater extent than others, have been affected by this cognitive bias. Let me explain this better with a quick figurative example. Rob loves playing chess. He's been playing almost every day with his friends for 6 months, and he always wins. Rob is convinced that he's very strong and that he knows basically everything there is to know about the game. If we asked Robert at what level he thinks he is, his answer would be in the top 5% of players in the world. Mark is a professional chess player. He's traveled the world to play tournaments and is truly among the best in the world. Mark is fully aware that he knows a lot about this game, but he also knows that the number of possible moves and strategies in chess is huge, and he's far from knowing everything. Being perfectly aware of this situation, Mark knows that there's a gray area of non-knowledge, seen by him as room for improvement. You can see this on the screen. Rob, on the other hand, is totally unaware that this gray area exists. In his opinion, that area does not exist. This is the reason why Rob is so sure that he's close to knowing the game of chess to perfection. The problem here is that Rob knows what he knows, but he doesn't know what he doesn't know. Mark, however, is perfectly aware of his knowledge and is equally aware that there are things he does not know. The mistake that many people in Mark's situation make is to assume that others know what he knows, when this is just not the case. Often, this happens because less prepared individuals show so much confidence in themselves that it's easy to be misled. This is why people like Mark often tend to underestimate themselves in relation to others. Dunning and Krueger also noted that the most incompetent people tend to totally reject any form of criticism and have no interest in improving themselves. This is the reason why many people live their entire existence in mediocrity. A famous quote by Charles Darwin says, Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. It is those who know little, not those who know much, who so positively assert that this or that problem will never be solved by science. We can close by saying that having self-confidence is important, but even more important is being self-conscious and understanding what we're really good at and what we're not. Only this way can we make the right changes and take the appropriate actions to improve ourselves. Do you recognize any of your acquaintances or friends in this description? If you like, share some funny anecdotes in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to push the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Also, don't forget to activate the notification bell. This way you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded on the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.